one can learn almost everything in Pázmány Péter University. And if somebody wants to become teacher, and she or he can come to Esztergom for a study. They have to study at least 3 years. If somebody wants to be a teacher, they must study at least 3 years. And they have to practice in school, in the kindergarten, in the primary school. On the island, we have future teachers can train how to teach. How is it with the walking? Good? Great. It was only in 1920 that we had a cardinal, a private, this person is very important person in the church, has all the titles. If somebody is elected Archbishop of Esztergom, and he automatically receives Prince Private Alexander Bulain, 124. So they started in 1820 to build this huge cathedral. They needed a cathedral, and they wanted to make it big. They wanted to make like a Vatican, Hungarian Vatican, you know. And they made this huge ramp, and this is a bigger, smaller one next to it. And they just cut 12 meters from the height of. This is also called the Dark Gate, because this was where the 1956 events took place in Esztergom. 3 days later, so in Budapest it was the 23rd of October, and here in Esztergom it was the 26th of October. There was a bus taking students home from school. On the other side, there was a tank, a Soviet tank, that they hit the bus, and we lost only 14 deaths. In Budapest there were much more. The bus can easily cross. Right now they are not allowed. And on the other days of the Catholic but other Christian religion, really home some wines. And this is a very
You make wine.
Wine tasting again.
It's empty.
This is
it remained in beautiful. They left it in ruins, so they left it in 1990. No, it was a communist last.
Look, madam, only Hungarian, 20 euros. Hungarian handmade, 20 euros. I have a small one, I have a big one.
In Deutschland oder?
Jó napot kívánok, jó napot! Na, sikerült valamit eladni? Semmit? Jó! Architecture, they put these columns here. They wanted to make 2 ranges of columns, of huge columns like this, but it would have costed quite a lot. And with this triangular tympanum, and and it was interesting even in the 19th century to find out how to build a dome, this kind of dome. It's very difficult, but the architect Hild, who also worked on in Budapest a lot, he used a very modern, the head, mother, Mater Magistra, the teacher of all Hungarian churches. So this is the center of the Hungarian church. And this is what we are going to visit first. In front of the cathedral is a statue of the Virgin Mary, who is dressed coronation mantle of Hungary, and she's crowned as the Queen of Hungary. It's the holy crown of Hungary. Hello. So there you are. You arrived earlier than we. Quarter to 11. This is most important little coin, not that little, of the Esztergom Cathedral, because as you can see, there is somehow a difference. It's not really a 19th century building. It looks like something older, isn't it?
Yes, it does.
It does look older. In fact, this is a real it's a real Renaissance building. Pure Italian Renaissance architecture. This is the most beautiful Renaissance architecture. M, can you see that? M, five C's, which is 507. This is the date. So it means that in 1507, this chapel was ready, was built until at least this level. We can say that it is. It has 3 different levels, you see, and it is quite tall, It's 2.5 times taller than it is larger. And in fact, this chapel, it's called, we call it the Bacot's Chapel because the Cardinal Bacot, we have his name written over there, Bacot, Thomas Bacot, built it, and it was originally the side chapel of the previous cathedral that no longer exists. It was a Gothic cathedral, St. Adalbert Cathedral, but it was completely destroyed. Only this side chapel resisted. And when in the 19th century they started to build this new cathedral, the architect of that time, John Pack, decided to preserve this chapel, and he cut it into 1,600 pieces. And then he rebuilt it as a side chapel of this new cathedral. And this is how we preserve this architecture. In Western Europe, you won't find this kind